Yes, let's go to the Sun, because you were talking about James Maddison, of course, there. Dominant in the back pages as well today as well. Mad U-turn. Tottenham haters now Ange's new creator. James Maddison has signed for Spurs for 45 million. And actually, some people saying it's too much money, but others would say actually that's a very, very good move for Tottenham, the creative midfielder that they'll need. Yeah,
and if he starts performing the way he can and gets Tottenham off to a good start and his new coach, then it's no problem. And
it's interesting because you touched on this, that you can't put anything out there these days on social media anywhere now. Maddison did tweet when he was young, and it's been brought to the front pages again to fruition. Ali, hope Luis Suarez destroys Tottenham today. Don't like Spurs, especially that monkey that everyone's on about. So not a great tweet to put out there.
And that was Gareth Bale who was talking about.
Yes, 10th of March 2013 has come back to bite Maddison on the backside.
What age is he?
No, I mean, going back to 2013.
He was a ball boy.
Yeah, I mean, he was a youngster back then, but he has signed for that Spurs that he doesn't like, and hopefully will do well for Ange Postecoglou's side as well.
Isn't it? They're digging up quote. I mean, that's seriously, was that quote 10 years ago? When
10
he was
years ago.
What age is he? No, seriously, what age is he?
So he's 26 now, so yeah, 16 years old on social media. The amount of but the thing is, it's interesting.
Terrible.
But you know the amount of say cricketers in the past or other sports stars in the past who've been cancelled. But James Maddison is a Premier League footballer. Premier League footballers don't get cancelled no matter what they do. All he has to do is bang in a few goals, create a few assists.
Correct.
And Spurs fans will be like, I've always liked him.
I hope so.
Yeah.
What else we got?
By the way, on the subject of Spurs, Ange, Ali, I'm keen to know what the word is in Glasgow as well. Will he raid the Celtic dressing room? Will Cameron Carter Vickers return to Spurs with Ange? Do you think that'll happen?
He's been in top form, and Ange, if he trusts you, but look, it all depends. Brendan won't want to make too many changes, will he? He'll definitely know the ones that want out, but I don't think he'd be one of them.
Do you know what I think, guys? And it'd be interesting to hear your opinions on it. I mean, he's obviously made some brilliant signings by guys, particularly from the Far East, with his knowledge over there. But the player you mentioned there, Carter Vickers, I think, has actually been the one stalwart in the Celtic side that has made the difference. Believe it or not, I think more than Kyogo, who I really like, by the way. I do like Kyogo, but Carter Vickers is the one, particularly towards the end of last season.
What about Jota? You not see him do it in the Premier?
Yeah, Jota's really talented, but when Celtic were missing Carter Vickers towards the end of last season, that was, I know that
we took their foot off the accelerator. What's up with you?
Different team. I tell you right now, he was a key man. There you are, there's my two balls.
That's your wind up number one this morning, Ali. Don't listen to him. Also, lots of reports on Bayern Munich coming in for Harry Kane. 70 million is the bid at this moment in time, testing Tottenham's resolve to keep their star striker.
Testing Daniel Levy, it's really, because we know that in a year's time he'll be crying if Harry goes in a free.
Could you imagine?
But at the same time, he's not Mr. Popular with the punters at the moment. If he sells Harry for a cut down price, oh dear, he'll get pelters.
I mean, is there any win-win in that situation? You lose him next year for nothing, or you could maybe get 80 million now. What would you do?
You've got to take the money.
Really?
I don't care
As
what
a
anybody
businessman?
says. You've got to take the money. I mean, you've been in any other business, you'd get your head examined. Any other business, you would get your head examined if you lost £80 million on an asset.
Fair point. Speaking of 80 million money bags, Todd Bowley in the papers as well today. Page 51 of The Sun. Bowley's deals at loophole
Martin
below.
Lipton?
Yeah, Martin Lipton writing this. Todd Bowley's Chelsea reign has not exactly been a glorious success. Of course, the focus was last season on the amount of players that come in and the amount of money that was spent, especially that on Mikhailo Mudryk, who's not hit the ground running in his 8-year contract. Remember, this was put in place, and the reason that they gave it such a long contract was so they could pay up the instalments over more time. Well, it's now been decided that loophole will be closed, and there's now a maximum of a 5-year contract now in place. That's the longest the contracts will be now moving forward. Now that there's been this crackdown on the loophole, that, to be fair to him, he did a good job to put that in place. Again, businessmen, smart people dealing with lots of cash.
He's used to Sport in America, isn't he? And they're seriously.
I'm just trying to work out who will that suit. Will that suit the players more, do you think?
Probably. I mean, it would suit everyone a bit better.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. And maybe the clubs as well. Well, not the clubs.
So the other thing talking about, we're going to talk more in depth, Shebahn, about Declan. I wonder what David's up to at the moment, Moisey, or whoever's buying West Ham's players. Or what are they up to at the moment? Who have they got their eye on?
It's been rather quiet. hasn't he? Rather quiet so far. They're probably still celebrating and enjoying that first trophy. And
they can't. That's gone now. You got to move on. They've got Europa League, and that starts fairly early, I think.
Yeah.
So they've got to line up. I would imagine 2 or 3 players, Ali, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I'd have thought so. Well, particularly if you're losing your key asset and your key player. But listen, you can guarantee that you know Moyes as well as I do. He eats, sleeps and breathes it. He'll be getting himself organised. He's probably had his break. Well, he will have had his break, and he'll be back. And I can guarantee you, he'll be planning for the future as soon as that final whistle blew when they won that cup, and they'll be ready to move on. But you're right. They're definitely. I would say West Ham. Again, Shebahn will need to strengthen and certainly freshen up a little bit. What
do you see happening for Moisey next season? Do you see it being farewell?
Oh no! Europe, bingo, and I think they'll be better in the Premier League this year. I do.
Yeah.
Listen. Declan's a top player. He'll be a big loss, but if David can pick 3 good players, maybe 4, I don't know. Then if West Ham start the season well and continue with good results in Europe, sky's the limit again. It's all about results, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
We thought that might be his last season. He might go home, he might go to Celtic, or he might go wherever.
Yeah.
And it just suddenly, that was just a boost in the arm, a shot in the arm, wasn't it? And now he's going to have money to spend, or someone's going to have money to spend. That's what worries me. Who's spending it?
4 days to go till strawberries and cream.
Oh, yes.
Wimbledon time, 3rd of July. And there's a double page spread here on Nick Kyrgios. Today is to do's Kyrgios. It could live with being Spursy in the slams. Well, if I'm Kyrgios reading that this morning, that's not a good way to start the day.
Listen, the guy's hugely talented, isn't he?
Oh, he can play.
McEnroe was like that, wasn't he? I'm not saying he's as good as McEnroe, but McEnroe had a... he suddenly... he bust a blood vessel. Boom! He just went mental, went crazy. Got angry at everyone. Everyone's against me, and I just feel this kid's like that as well.
He gets people watching the game, though.
And everything that he has been through as well, Alan, and he's spoken about this in a documentary. It'll be interesting to see the version of Nick Kyrgios that turns up, and if he's bettered himself and, psychologically more prepared for Wimbledon this time round. Also, the youngster, Alcaraz, 20 years old as well. Looks like he could be challenging Djokovic. It's certainly going to be an interesting Wimbledon this time round.
Ali, Djokovic was at these last tournament he won. He was second favourite in the semi-final.
Yeah.
And the fella, I can't remember his name, he had to pull out, and I was going to back Djokovic to win it. I thought, I can't, he's second favourite. Yeah. And sure enough, he won it. But look, I'm more interested in who we've got representing UK. Yeah. And I don't fear, we're going to fare too well, are we?
Yeah, well, fingers crossed for Andy Murray.
Especially the girls. The girls are struggling.
Well, there's Bolter, isn't it? Charlotte Bolter. She's
got a chance of getting in the draw.
A bit of a wild card as well. But in terms of Andy Murray, we'd love to see it, wouldn't we?
Of course we would.
Scotland FM.
The end of the day, Ali's taking him for dinner, and I said I'd buy.
Did you?
So yeah, well, he's got the hump with me. He thinks I don't like him, which is he's got selective hearing. That's why. He has got selective hearing, honestly. He doesn't mention when I've said, go on, Andy.
I'll sort it out over dinner. Don't worry about it. I'll whole thing sorted.
Don't go mad. We're talking about a bucket of chicken or something.
Richard Keys in the papers today as well, just quickly.
I heard you. I heard you.
Married. Would you ever marry your daughter's best friend?
Well, she got a couple of crackers, by the way.
You're an embarrassing dad.
I'm only kidding, for God's sake.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Alan Brazil. Thursday and Friday morning, 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.